make sure the phone will stay sitting here. And then we can read the next chapter. We had just finished how to make a plan where Penny had come to get Chester and take him back to her house, and she was supposed to be teaching him seizure response techniques to help Gus. But we have a feeling that she's a little bit more interested in his vocabulary. She was talking about him regressing, which meant that he might have forgotten or slipped backwards a little bit in everything that he had learned in his vocabulary cards. And that's what regress meant. If you went and looked it up, good for you. But this next chapter is called Penny's House. And we'll start here. We're only like this much more to go, close to the end. Okay, Penny's house. Penny's house looks the same, but feels different. It's sadder this time and lonelier. The TV is too loud. Even Penny's voice seems louder. Right after we walk in the door, she throws my vest in the corner and pulls out the old word flashcards. Even though I haven't worked on them this whole time, I try to remember what they say so that we can move on and she can teach me the jobs I'll need to know. Yes, she says when I get my fourth word right. You've retained it all, you amazing dog. I can't wait to tell my new friends. I've joined an online group for people doing serious research on canine-human connection. And they all agree that teaching your dog to read is the most practical first step in talking to your dog. Really? I look at her and my heart feels heavy. There's one woman who's posted videos of her dog reading 26 different commands. Some people have accused her of doing off-camera cueing, but I believe her. I look at how quickly you've learned these words, and I know some dogs are just extraordinarily smart. Some people have never met a dog like that, so they're skeptics, but I'm not. The more Penny talks about this, the more scared I feel. I wonder when she's going to teach me what I need to know about responding to seizures. She hasn't mentioned it once since we left Gus's house. I feel hopeful for a few minutes when she says, and now we're going to take a break from reading to do something else. Great, I say, and start toward the closet where she put my vest. We're going to work on getting you to point to the cards, I say. I'm going to lay down 2 cards and get you to touch one of them with your nose. Like this, see? She touches one of the cards with her own nose. I think about Gus with his home teachers touching their flashcards. He touched a lot of them and never told them anything. I wonder if I could learn to read enough words to say to Penny, "Take me back, Gus needs me." I don't think Penny will teach me those words because she doesn't want to hear them. She lays out 2 cards. They look different on the floor. I can't tell what they say. Chester, point to down, please. They both look like down. I don't know what to do. So I lie down. No, Chester, sit, please. I sit again. Point to down, she says, and does something she's never done before. She puts her hand on the back of my head and pushes my nose toward one of the cards. Yes, she says when my nose hits the card, hard enough to hurt. You pointed to down. She lets my head go and switches the cards. Okay, can you point to down now? Her eyes go from me to the card she wants me to choose. It's easy to tell which one it is. I don't want to point to it, though. My nose hurts from what she just did. I'm not reading, and I don't want to learn tricks where I pretend like I am. I don't see how that will help Gus. Do it by yourself, Chester. I know you can. Point to down. I look at her, not at the cards. I tell her with my eyes, don't make me do this. I want her to understand we're both better than this. She raised me to believe that serving my person was the most important thing I could do with my life. I'm not your person, she told me many times. You'll know who your person is the minute you meet them, and that's how it usually works. I must have looked worried because after she said that, she reached over and hugged me. Oh, Chester, I promise it'll happen for you. You're my smartest, best dog yet. Everyone will love you. Now I've learned I don't need everyone to love me. I just need one person, and I found him. She doesn't understand that Gus is my person, and he has been since the first time he saw me and screamed, and I thought, I can help this boy be less afraid. I have helped him, I think. He is less afraid. He's talking a little more. He's told his mom and dad he wants to go back to school, but he can't go if I'm not with him, and Penny isn't teaching me what I'll need to know for that. Point 2 down, Chester, she says again. I don't move, and I hold my head back so she can't push it again. Chester, are you listening to me? I do something I've never done in one of our training sessions before. I turn around. Chester! I walk away. My heart is beating hard. I've never disobeyed a command in my life. Chester! Penny gasps. What are you doing? I think about her father's heart attack. I don't want her to have one. I look over my shoulder to see if her face is red or sweaty, 2 heart attack signs I learned from a commercial. Except for her expression, which is horrified, Penny's face looks fine. I keep walking. Chester, stop! I don't. I go over to the door and sit down beside my vest that lies on the floor. If I wait here all day without moving, maybe she'll understand what I'm trying to tell her, I think. But she doesn't. She thinks I've lost all my training in the time I spent living with Gus and his family. I don't understand, she keeps saying. For the rest of the day, we go outside and work on the old basic commands that I learned when I first came to her house. I guess she wants to see if I remember them. I sit, I stay, I heal. Mom. What about the new things I need to learn, I ask her. What about the emergency alert buttons and fetching medications? Teach me those, I beg her, like you promised Sarah. But in the 2 hours we work outside, I don't learn anything that will help me with Gus. Next chapter is short. It's called Tower Puzzles. I've been with Penny for 2 days now, and she hasn't taught me anything about responding to a seizure. Instead, she's setting up towers and mazes made out of cardboard boxes, and she says they'll help me increase the flexibility of my thinking. Once the neurological pathways become flexible, your brain is more capable of joint communication. Remember, Chess? Look to me for help, and I'll cue you on how to open the doors and get the treat. And that's how you'll get to be a more interactive thinker. I don't want to be interactive, I tell her. I want to go home to Gus. This morning, she set up a circular cardboard tower with 3 doors. Each door has a string attached to it, and judging by the way she looks at the strings, I'm pretty sure I'm meant to pull one of them. So here's the point, Chester. Monkeys can learn that if you pull the right string, a door will flap open with your treat. Some canine experts think that dogs' weakest area is problem solving. They say you have to be taught everything by rote because you don't understand cause and effect. But I don't think they're right. I think you can figure this out if you've got enough motivation. That's why I've got your favorite treat ready to go. And she pops open a Tupperware, releasing a wonderful smell, and I remember beef brisket. My nose lifts, my mouth waters. I used to work long hours for Penny's beef brisket. Those are happy memories. Those were the days when she still talked about the important jobs I'd do for my person. I try to imagine what she'd tell Sarah when she takes me back, and I can't do any of the things Sarah asked me to learn. And suddenly, a terrible thought occurs to me. She's not worried about what she'll say to Sarah because she's not planning to take me back. I look around the living room where Penny and I have always spent most of our time. I have everything I need here, my bed, my food dishes, and she puts the brisket treat into the cardboard tower. I look at the pantry and my stomach does a turn. She's got 2 shelves of dog food cans and a full container of kibble. Why did she buy so much dog food if she expects me to stay for only a week? My heart begins to race. Dogs might have a hard time learning cause and effect, but we don't have any trouble understanding food and what it means. Penny's planning to keep me here with her. She doesn't think working with Gus is as important as me learning to read and talk by pointing to cards. Realizing this makes me so nervous, I don't know what to do. Maybe I can sit by the door and refuse to do anything or go anywhere except back in her car. And maybe if I concentrate on reading lessons, I can learn the only words I want now. Take me home. Gus can't go back to school without me. I have to be there with him, not only to press his button and move him away from stairs if he has a seizure, but to steer him away from Ed and toward other people like Mama and Amelia. After a morning of working on flashcards and the string-draped castle, which I'll never understand, we take a break for lunch in our old favorite spot on the sofa in front of the TV. I used to love sitting here, finding out about people in the world outside this house by the TV shows we watched. I learned all about criminals and the detectives who catch them. I learned that it's people you don't expect who turn out to be criminals, like Penny, who is stealing me and committing a crime and eating lunch as if everything is normal. Come on up on the sofa, Chester. You know that's okay. She pats the seat beside her. Did those people not let you up on their furniture? Were they like that? And she rolls her eyes as if this is just another reason not to like them. I don't get up on the sofa. I sit near Penny, but I don't look at Penny. What's wrong, Chess? You're in such a mood this morning. Aren't you happy to be back home? I look at her and look away. I don't understand you. Remember when you didn't want to go with those people at all? When I had to force you and tell you everything would be okay? Wait a minute, I think. I do remember that, but how does she? I move closer and try to catch her eye. Could you hear what I was thinking back then? I ask. I wait for an answer, but nothing. I move to another spot where she can see my face. I want to learn my job for Gus, I say. I want to go back and be with him. I watch her face carefully. I don't think she hears my voice, but there's a thought in her head that she doesn't like. She looks down and shakes her head. I move closer so my face is under hers. You shouldn't keep Chester here. It's not right. It makes you a criminal. I'm trying to sound like her own brain talking to her. I'm not sure if it's working. She shakes her head again and picks up the TV remote to raise the volume. And that's it. Next chapter is called Penny's Mom, and we'll get to it another day.